What is up, guys? It is AJ from MMA Experts, and I am being joined by one of the hottest prospects outside of the UFC in the bantamweight division, Justin Wetzell. What is going on, my guy?
What's going on, man? Good to be here.
Dude, I'm glad you're here, man. You just shook up the whole game outside of the UFC. You just took out Askar Askar, who was supposed to be fighting Cody Stamann. How you feeling about that win?
Hey, man, maybe I get to fight Cody Stamann now. Man, I'm ecstatic, dude. It feels amazing. I'm not surprised though. I did exactly what I thought I was gonna do. I made so many improvements during this camp, and everything went exactly the way I thought it was gonna go. Everything.
Dude, honestly, so I watched some previous footage. I saw the fight with, I believe, Guthro was the last fight previously. Dominant win, no questions about it, but the performance was just
Yeah.
elevated to another level. I mean, Askar didn't have a chance with you. You controlled the entire fight, and then you get the TKO. That type of performance makes a serious, serious noise on the regional scene. Have you heard from the UFC yet?
No, not yet, but I think I got to be at the very top of the list of people for a short notice fight. So, I'm gonna enjoy this 1 week. I'm gonna be a glutton, enjoy myself, but then it's gonna be right back to training, staying lean, and staying ready. I don't want to be a short notice guy that comes in, loses out the gate, and people like make that excuse for like, oh, it was short notice, he wasn't ready. Like, no, I want to be ready and get a win and immediately move up the ladder.
So you're not interested in a short notice fight. Let's say right now they need somebody for UFC Vegas 29 in 2 weeks. You're not interested in hopping in that early.
Oh, I didn't say that. I mean,
Okay.
if I got that call right now, I mean, I'd have to put the fork down and just go like get ready. When you say my T-shape fight, the performance just wasn't as good. I had two weight cuts in 2 weeks because my previous opponent, like the previous week for the previous LFA, he got COVID, so I was out. And damn it,
Keep
uh,
going.
but uh, uh, so I had to do the weight cut again, and I was backstage hitting pads, and man, I was gassed like before the fight even started. And after the first round, I was spent, but I had to dig deep. Got the job done, but like you said, the performance just wasn't. It wasn't like very impressive to what you just saw, and didn't show that caliber of a fighter that I am.
Yeah, and I think that reason the lines were probably as wide as they were, in favor of Askar because of that performance. But then you come out whole different game, and it was evident the weight cutting was definitely it because the way you beat Askar, like if you would have won a split decision, people would have been hyped. You beat him down. It wasn't competitive. You outstruck him and you outgrappled him. You beat Askar Askar, who's a legit prospect on the scene. And as I said, I think the UFC should be calling really soon. If there's somebody in the UFC, is there a name that right now you think might be realistic for you coming up next? Because a lot of guys in that bantamweight division, one of the biggest weight classes, period.
Yeah, out the gate, names wise, I think of somebody that I've like seen, but he's not a 35er, he's a 45er. But I think he's fighting tonight, actually. It's Chase Hooper. Dude,
Ah,
that guy is not. I get it. He's got some slick submissions and shit, dude, but he is not a UFC fighter.
he's not a
He
UFC fighter. So
he's
you're
just
calling out this right now. You just heard it. Justin Wetzel, the hottest bantamweight right now outside of the UFC, said it. Chase Hooper, win, loser, draw, coming Saturday. You got a man that wants to fight you, and I'd be interested in seeing that up a weight class. And to be honest, right now, the performance you put on Askar, I don't think that would be close. I think that you'd probably TKO him worse than you did Askar.
I agree. Dude, worse. Yeah, I agree. 100%.
Much worse,
Yeah.
much worse. And I think that you have some serious, serious potential right now going into high level action. And I feel like if the UFC isn't calling soon, let's talk about something else. Does Bellator intrigue you by any means at all?
It does. The UFC is going to have more eyeballs, obviously, more recognition. But this is something I've been chasing since I was 18, right out of high school. I started getting into training, and I want to fight in the major leagues of MMA. And I consider Bellator one. Unfortunately, PFL doesn't have a bantamweight division, but UFC, all of those are major league divisions. Preference would definitely be the UFC. But if Bellator came calling and offered me, like a symbol, their contracts are very similar to the UFC, sometimes even better. I know people that are like 6, 7, and 0 that are signed with Bellator, then they're doing fairly well. And another thing with Bellator is the shorts, the sponsors. You get to have your own customizable sponsors. Can you imagine in the early 2000s, Chuck Liddell wearing fucking Reebok shorts, dude. There'd be no Iceman shorts. Like, I can't stand that with UFC. I mean,
I'm
it is
so
what it
with you.
is, and it's never gonna go away. But that's just my opinion on it.
Yeah, the thing I felt like when the UFC got the Reebok deal, I was pissed. That was my immediate
Yeah,
reaction. Now they have Venom, so at least it's a little bit better. You know, you're not dealing with the Reebok, which is not even a martial arts brand. But I do feel like the fighters now are really losing out on some potential pay because now you're
a
limited to
ton.
how many fights you have in the UFC. We're going to pay you by that. That doesn't really make sense because if you have companies that want to pay you, put them on your trunks. To me, it's completely unfair. It's another money grab by the UFC. It's the main one, though, right? The UFC is now
Yeah.
trying to become like the NFL of fighting. It's the major league. Bellator right now, as you know personally, we talked about it before the show. I'm a big Bellator guy. I'm a fan of Bellator. I think that they really do pay their fighters fairly well, and I really love the Showtime events. If I was you, wouldn't be disappointed with the Bellator call, especially their bantamweight division is pretty stacked too. And let's be honest, you match up pretty well with that champion. I think so. Sergio Pettis is a good striker, but you can grapple, man. And I do think stylistically, either way, any UFC or Bellator, I think you're emerging and working your way up to that top 15 in the next couple of years, without a doubt.
Thanks, man. It's something I've been chasing and training with the high level people. And in my opinion, the best bantamweight in the world, Corey Stanhagen, like consistently now, almost every day for the past few years. I just know I belong in that upper echelon, man. And I got to prove it on Friday, and I'm only getting better. I don't want to give away too much, but like just in the past like 3 weeks, really started working on weapons that I've just now really starting to get like okay at. I'm not even close to my full potential, man. This is just the beginning.
Dude, I'm excited for you, man. Hot prospect on the scene. Massive opportunities coming. Best weight class, bantamweight division. The UFC should be calling, and if they don't call, Showtime should be calling you with a Bellator deal. Because I think in that LFA co-main event, not only did you deliver a dominant performance, you put on entertainment. And at the end of the day, entertainment is truly nowadays what really gets you to the top. You remember Danny Sabatello was a pretty hot prospect. Now they signed him over at Bellator in the bantamweight division, but they don't like that style, more of a grinding style, not going to look for the finish. Whereas you on the other side, you finish fights, and finishing fights sells.
Thanks, man. It's crazy you mentioned like Sabatello and stuff like that because when I was in high school and like I was like a wrestler in high school, but I was not like a good wrestler in high school, right? I was a JV guy. I was a bum, but Sabatello and even Cooper who fought on Friday. Those guys, they were like the guys in like high school, like the state champion wrestlers, and it's crazy like to see where I'm at now to like be like at that level or even above or right on with them, and just it just goes to show if you really want this, if you want to like get to the top, you can do it. You just have to fucking put in the time and the effort and the work, make a lot of sacrifices, but it's possible.
I agree, man. If you put in the work, this game is yours. You have the self-belief. You obviously do. You have the work ethic. You definitely do. You're training at elevation, team elevation. I mean, those guys are excellent. And it's in elevation as well. I mean, you guys are pretty high
Yeah.
up, right where you're training. So that stamina is not going to be an issue with these guys sometimes training in Florida in the flatland over here where I am, which, when we go up in elevation, we're out of breath walking up a set of stairs, let alone fist fighting.
Yeah.
Well, that honestly gets me excited talking to you about the potential fights. But as we said before the show, we want to talk about some fights that are coming up. You have a friend on this UFC 263 card. He's the featured prelim of the night, Drew Dober. This is an exciting matchup for him. How are you feeling about your boy Drew in this matchup against Brad Riddell, who's right now undefeated inside of the UFC and looking like a legit prospect on the rise?
Yeah, it's gonna be a firefight, dude. These guys both like to strike. Drew loves to play punch face. It's man, it's gonna be an explosive fight. I'm not sure if it's gonna be able to go the distance. I think Drew. I know you picked against him, but I think Drew's gonna get it done in the first. Dude, that guy's a beast. Riddell is too, and that's why I think this is gonna also be fight of the night.
Yeah, I think we're in store for great action in that fight. I think Dober definitely has a chance. Even as I said, picking against him as you mentioned, it's a great matchup. High level action in that lightweight division. May the best man win it. And at the end of the day, no matter what my pick is, I want to be rooting for your boy. So I do hope Drew Dober really does prove me wrong. I would like to see him do that. But we got to move on up to the main card and talk about a couple of matches there, and we'll get your take on it. Paul Craig, Jamal Hill. How you feeling about that one? with these light heavyweights on the rise?
Well, I gotta go Craig. He took out, he took out Shogun, and Shogun was my favorite fighter growing up, man. And so I just gotta hope he wins that fight and keeps that going for sure. But Jamal he's a legit prospect too, so I would not be shocked if he takes it.
So for me, I'm going to go against you, man. We're having some different picks, but that's what it's all about. The different picks is what gives the excitement. I think Jamal Hill going to be a little tricky for him to deal with on the feet. I think knockout win. Jamal Hill also tricky with the southpaw stance, does have a pretty mean left hand knockout of OSP. I think he's going to put Craig out, but I will say I'm actually a fan of Paul Craig as well. And that win over Shogun, it's great for your career. I mean, to beat Shogun, as you said, one of your favorite fighters ever, probably one of mine ever. I remember growing up watching him, as this top guy beating up everybody. He fights for the world title. He gets controversially robbed really against Lyoto Machida, and then is able to knock him out badly in that next fight. So definitely big win for Craig on the resume. And he's going to be having that as a lifetime achievement, truly. But yeah, I'm going with Jamal Hill though, to take him out. Tough fight.
Let me one second. I got to plug in my laptop.
Yeah, man. Do it, man. Do it. We're going to move up, though, to the next fight. It's Damian Maia versus Bilal Muhammad. We'll let Mr. Judson Wetzell get his stuff all set up. He's going to have his laptop die on us, man. But we really appreciate him coming and talking to us and, talking about the fights, talking about his career. Guys, if you haven't checked out Justin Wetzell, you need to, because he's one of the most entertaining guys on the LFA roster. And pretty soon the UFC is going to be calling him up. He just beat Askar Askar. This guy's real as far as prospects go. Honestly, before we go to the next fight, let's shout out your social media right now while we're in the middle of these breakdowns. Where can the people find you at?
Yeah, Jay Wetzell MMA, and that's pretty much across all platforms: Twitter, Instagram. I do have YouTube channel. It's content's not too hot.
What? No, bro.
Probably,
shout to YouTube.
Let's get it. Let's get it though.
Let's go. Give this man a subscribe. He's coming on helping us. We definitely want to help him, and this guy's real. But let's talk about this fight. It's Damian Maia versus Bilal Muhammad. This is a crazy matchup. You got Damian Maia at one point, probably the scariest grappler ever in MMA, versus Bilal Muhammad, who can wrestle his ass off. His striking has improved tenfold, since when Vicente Luque put him to sleep badly, a few years back, and he's super athletic. How you feeling? Where are you leaning on this one?
All right. I think on this one, I think we're gonna agree. I think I'm having a hard time going with Maia, man. Bilal just had that shit with Leon. He's gonna come out hungry. He's going to take this one. I don't know if he's going to maybe knock out decision. I think he's going to take it, though.
I'm with you. I'm actually going to lean decision. I think he's going to stop the takedowns. I do think there's a chance Maia gets him down early, but I feel like Maia's looking slow. He's looking slow. You look at that fight against Burns. He's always been, not a good striker, right? But he looked slower and evidently slower. I do fear that we might see Bilal Muhammad knock out Damian, because I don't know if the chin's there anymore. And granted, Burns can punch, and it was a massive hook that he landed. But Bilal Muhammad can pop a little bit too. And if Maia's chin is not what it once was, we could see a knockout for Bilal. So I'm with you on that pick. Bilal Muhammad, I think he's a lock play. I don't think that Damian Maia, besides submission. So if you guys are watching, if you didn't see the full card predictions, you know where I'm at on that fight. But I did talk about that prop bet submission victory for Maia. If the plus money is good enough, always will have value as a betting man. I don't know if you ever bet MMA yourself. Since you're a fighter, you know how crazy this thing can go. So
I don't bet as much as I should, dude. But when I was like 21, one of my first bets, I was watching Daniel Cormier versus Bigfoot Silva, and do you remember that one? The tournament,
dude. Oh my goodness, that gets me excited, man. Yeah, oh my goodness,
and Cormier was like a +2 something underdog, and I just did a quick Tapology, looked at him. I'm like, oh, this dude got third in the Olympics in wrestling. Like, I'm pretty sure this is worth it. And I was like 21, so I had like $300 in the bank account at the time. Put like $40 on Cormier, won like 85, 90. Like, yes, let's go. That was my first betting experience. I don't do as much, but there's money to be made with the LFA betting lines, though.
I think so, dude. Especially after your performance. I think that I think we might have to do the LFA betting, bro. We'll bring you on because you've been in the LFA for a minute, man. We'll talk about some LFA action more. I mean, honestly, I like the LFA a lot. I do the predictions normally for like the main and co-main event, but I normally don't get to that whole card just because you have some guys they don't have any pro fights, so it's hard to find footage. And then you're looking at amateur stuff. It's 5 years old. Like it's a big mix. Sometimes with these younger guys. But we do have to move up to the next fight. If not, we'll talk LFA all day over here. It's the featured bout of the night. Leon Edwards, Nate Diaz. Were you leaning on this fight right here?
Oh, come on, man. We know it's Leon, right? Like, what's the line on that?
Dude,
I gotta
oh
pick
my
Leon.
goodness. Let me pull up the actual legit betting odds because Tapology doesn't always update their odds. Let me get these odds up for you, man. I want to tell you because I think it's gonna be like your money that you could get if somehow Nate Diaz pulls it off right now, ranging depending where you're betting, but it's about plus 425 for Diaz as the dog, and then the minus 550 favorite Leon Edwards. That's substantially widespread. And I do agree with you that that's kind of like one of those fights where I don't think Nate Diaz has much of a chance. He's never been great at 170. Rory McDonald beat the brakes off him when he was like in his early 20s. Diaz is a 55er that doesn't like cutting weight. I feel like physically he's not all that strong. He's got nice jujitsu, but if you're a beast of a wrestler or even just pretty tough physically, Nate Diaz ain't taking you down. And against Leon Edwards, I don't think he's outstriking Leon. Kickboxing, better on the side of Leon. Grappling, at least defensively, Leon's going to be way better. And physically, he's got to be double as strong as String Bean Nate. And I'm a big Nate Diaz fan, but let's be honest, he's a 55er.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see Diaz having the wrestling to get Leon down. Kamaru, this one out wrestled him, but that's a whole nother beast at 170. Leon's got to gas out somehow, and Diaz can use that super cardio at the end. It's 5 rounds, right?
5 rounds, which is
the
first ever.
First
ever.
Yeah.
Featured bout, 5 rounds, non-title.
So I mean, there's that. Diaz isn't gonna gas, I guess, but yeah, I don't see it, man.
Yeah, I think that Leon Edwards is gonna beat him worse than Masvidal did because I feel like Leon Edwards is the real dark horse at 170. Masvidal, good fighter. I love Masvidal. I'm a fan of Masvidal, but Leon Edwards, the truth. And I think that he is working his way up and he's getting real close to that title shot. I'm with you. I think Leon, and I don't think it's any bit competitive. I think he probably gets a 3rd round TKO. That would be my Mystic Mac prediction to throw it out there.
3rd round. I'm going to go decision. Clean sweep.
I like the decision pick. You might be right on that one, especially with Diaz's durability. But co-main event, you got Brandon Moreno versus Davison Figueiredo. This is an exciting rematch here.
Yeah, this is a good one. I'm gonna have to go Figgy. I think he'll make some adjustments. I think he might drop a round, maybe 2 rounds, but I think it's gonna be a convincing decision for Figgy. I could be wrong, but I'm gonna go with Figgy. I think he's gonna make the adjustments and come out on top this one.
Yeah, I'm going to be right there with you, man. I feel like that first fight, the food poisoning, just in general, taking a fight, it was 21 days to prepare for a very different matchup than Alex Perez.
I spaced that. I forgot he took that on just a couple, and going through that before, like that weight cut in like the short time period, that 100% affects your performance. Whether I don't care what anyone says.
I believe
so.
100%.
Now that he's been able to like put the weight back on, cut back down properly, I think he's going to be a much better version. That solidifies it. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, no, it's 100%. That's the double weight cuts, food poisoning. I do think that Brandon Moreno is actually really difficult fight for pretty much anybody at 25. I do think he might take a round, but it's going to be Davison Figueiredo dominant, unanimous decision. I'll say 49-46. Might even see a 49-45 card in here because I could see him dropping Moreno, but I don't think Moreno's a guy you finish. He's one of those guys extremely durable. Those Mexican fighters tend to have steel chins in boxing, and I do think it carries over to MMA pretty well.
They have warrior spirit, man. There's no Mexicans and Hawaiians, man.
Savages.
Dude, they take lickings, dude, and just like keep coming.
They love the lickings, man. They love taking the shots, man. Savages, and Moreno's one of them, but you're not going to take out Davison Figueiredo just being tough. I'm going Figueiredo. Decision win, 49-46, 49-45, around there. Odds for that fight, minus 230 to plus 190. Davison Figueiredo, if you guys are betting, I like parlays on him. Straight play on him definitely can work too, and he should win. But let's move up, main event. And it's a super intriguing rematch because Israel Adesanya got out-grappled in the last fight and kind of outstruck against Jan Blachowicz, but that's up a weight class. That's Jan Blachowicz. I know you probably heard the story. He found a dead man hanging, and since then has been on an absolute tear. And he keeps like a piece of the rope around his wrist or something crazy. And Jan's looking like a different fighter since then. So Adesanya didn't win that one, but he takes on Vettori, who kind of struggled against Holland. Where are you leaning in that one?
I got to go Adesanya. I think he's going to get the job done. I don't know if he's going to finish him. I don't think he's going to finish him. I think another decision.
Yeah, I think we might see a decision heavy main card in this one. Definitely possible. I
Vittori though, I think he could maybe get some squelching in, get some squeezing, and get him down maybe late. I think didn't he took him down? Granted, that was years and years ago, and Adesanya's gotten a lot better. But so is Vittori. So
right. Cordero's in the corner.
Yeah,
He's
it's
got a
going to
good
be a
team.
competitive one, but I think Adesanya is going to get the job done.
I'll be right there with you. I think that Adesanya's range management, as far as the kickboxing goes, some of the best we've ever seen in MMA. Vettori's striking isn't bad necessarily. It's actually pretty decent, but he does struggle with those rangy guys. You look back at that Holland fight on the feet, clear advantage Holland. Granted, I said the fight, he struggled with Holland. Let me rephrase that. He struggled with Holland while striking. He won every round, clearly, as soon as it goes to the ground, but it wasn't a great performance. Holland, granted, a guy that doesn't offer a lot off the back. Neither does Adesanya, really. If Vettori somehow does consistently land a takedown, you might want to live bet Vettori to win the fight by a decision. But realistically, I think Adesanya comes out motivated on his game. I'm actually going to go TKO for Adesanya. I'm thinking third round, fourth round. I do think he's going to get to work in here. I feel like in the back of his mind too, he's thinking of that Jan Blachowicz fight, and he don't like Vettori at all. And Adesanya, when he doesn't like you, he tends to beat you worse. You look at that Paulo Costa fight, the beating he put on him.
Yeah. What do you think? You think he's going to chop him down? You think it's
See,
going to be the hands?
the one thing I will note with Vettori is that southpaw stance, which is something
That's a good point.
Maybe could be a little bit tricky on the feet because you can't throw the calf kick from the orthodox stance on, obviously the southpaw there. It's going to be hard to land. And I feel like Adesanya's best game is chopping the leg kicks. I don't know if it'll be there as much. I do think a lot of jabs, a lot of circling, some lead leg kicks. I feel like Vettori is a tricky fight. And as we're talking about it now, talking about the southpaw stance is getting me thinking Adesanya might get taken down a couple times here, but I do think better performance because the Jan Blachowicz fight, the strength disadvantage was so substantial, man. But I'm gonna go Adesanya though, and I'm picking TKO, but I could be way off there, and we might see a new champion on Saturday. We're gonna find out when that fight starts.
Yeah, I think you're right though. I think he's going to defend, and he fought at light heavyweight. He's fighting a middleweight now. His performance is going to be better, and maybe you're right. Maybe he'll get that TKO. Maybe he'll come out southpaw so he can land that outside kick. But I don't think he did that against Anderson, right? He stayed ortho.
Yeah, I think he's probably going to stay. I mean, maybe he could definitely switch, especially against Vettori, because I mean, Vettori does have a little bit of power. Like we got to give him some respect, but he's not a guy sleeping guys. He's not like a great striker like Adesanya. Adesanya could switch on him, and I definitely do think he's going to be feinting a lot. I feel like there's a chance you see a head kick land too, potentially, but it's going to be a obviously feinted head kick. The thing is, I feel like one thing you don't want to do if you're Adesanya is attack the body too much with the kicks, because Vettori gets a leg, he gets on top. He's not a guy that grinds out everybody. Granted, he grinded out Holland. Carl Roberson is a striker, kickboxer, glory kickboxer. That was a first round submission for Marvin Vettori. So if he does get you down, I think who has better jiu-jitsu, Kevin Holland or Israel Adesanya? We do have to talk about Kevin Holland's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt. He just can't wrestle well. Adesanya is a Brazilian jiu-jitsu purple belt. I don't know. I think this should be an Adesanya victory, but always value in those submission props. I'll actually check what it's at right now because I feel like a Vettori submission prop bet, if you're a betting man, might be one to play with a little sprinkle down plus 900.
Ooh.
Plus 900.
Wow.
I don't know.
Wow.
That's one of those risky
good.
calls. I don't know.
That's a good pick. Nice. Nice.
I would say money wise, but as far as actually prediction wise, yeah, I'm on Team Adesanya as well, man. But what a card, man. The UFC has some great action for us. We got to break it down with the baddest man on the regional scene right now in that bantamweight division, Justin Wetzell. Man, I really do appreciate you coming on and talking with us. And you also tuned into that live companion for the LFA. So guys, if you haven't seen me on the lives, I do stream a lot of them. We do a lot of fight companions. Whenever I'm available on fight nights, I'll be doing live companions. So make sure you guys come through and check it out, man. Justin Wetzell himself, one of the best guys in the game, is watching them. So you should too.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, you guys joined that shit. It was fun. You do a great job, man.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. I really appreciate you being here. Make sure you guys follow this guy. I'm going to link all your social media, your YouTube, everything in the description. You got to promise me you post on YouTube a bit more, man. Stay at it. Don't stop, man. YouTube's a great platform for fighters, man. You get that good connection with the fans. And I think you got to keep doing it. And we'll definitely have you back on the show. I love doing predictions with fighters. We can have you come back maybe on one of these cards coming up. We'll stay in touch. And maybe we can even get a live stream going one night for the fans. And we can chat it up with you once again.
Yeah, let's get it, man. And you need some advice on some like regional scene bets. Do any other ones do bets other than LFA?
So CFFC usually does have odds out.
Okay.
LFA obviously has the odds out pretty well. The issue is they're so late. Like I do the LFA predictions, and next thing you know, I'm like, there's no odds released. So I have to just give a prediction without betting odds and just guess the odds. But some people shaft me for that because they're like, oh, bro, you're giving the bookies hints at what plays we're going to be doing. But at the end of the day, I do have to get the predictions out to the people, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, hey, regional stuff.
There's a lot of it's pretty much whoever has the better record, and they just put that as the favorite. But there's a lot of like insider information you can like know about like who this person actually is and whatnot. Yeah. Like I think Edwin Cooper was a huge underdog. I saw that. I was like, there's no way he's losing this fight. Like I knew who both those guys were, and like that was not a surprise at all. It wasn't even close.
Yeah, he destroyed Hobson. It was a beating. That was a great point. And his loss was BS though. If you go back and watch that fight, he didn't tap.
That was so bad.
That was crazy.
He was beating that guy's ass, but whatever.
The fight game. Sometimes these refs make some big mistakes, but we appreciate you, Justin. Everybody watching, we appreciate you too. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you guys are new here, make sure you guys check out this man's social media. Also check out mine, all of it linked in the description. We appreciate everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you all in the next video.